Computer. So good afternoon and welcome everyone. Thank you for those who've joined us. This is NeuroDigest, the special needs hangout edition, our final and season finale for this year here today, and we're glad to be hosting all of you. And today we will be discussing Down syndrome. I will be talking to Wanjira, who is a mother of a child who has DS. And we hope that you're going to be learning a lot. For those who are joining us for the first time, I'm your host, Sylvia Moramo Chapo, the founder of Andy Speaks for Special Needs Persons, where we champion for mainstreaming of neurodevelopmental disabilities. And one of the programs that we run is training, empowerment, and support of caregivers. And during this COVID time, we've been having a very rough time. And we have featured a lot of support speakers in terms of how do you handle your children, what is seizures. We've handled adolescents, menstrual hygiene. So it has been a fully packed season, and all of this, for those who have missed it, is available on our YouTube channel. So you can subscribe, make sure you subscribe and follow us, and even follow us on our social media handles to be able to know what we're doing, where, what, and when, so that you do not miss out. So today we will just dive right into Down syndrome. I'm sure many people don't even have an idea what Down syndrome is, but it's one of the neurodevelopmental disabilities that are there, and have various characteristics. And I would love for us to hear from Wanjira so that she can tell us her story, and at the same time educate us a bit on what Down syndrome is, how many types, what are the challenges, and how to overcome it, because all stories are not the same. We all react and find out things differently and deal with them differently. Hey, Wanjira, karibu, and thank you for taking the time to join us today. So the floor is yours. Take it away. Introduce yourself and educate us first on what is Down syndrome. Then now maybe we can dive into the journey, and we'll have a conversation. Like we say, this is a hangout, meaning we are just interacting, having conversation. And anyone in the pan who's joined us and would like to ask a question, please raise your hand or just type it on the chat handle, and we will be sure to answer you and enlighten you. Thank you, and thank you for joining us. Karibu, Wanjira.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you for the time. My name is Wanjira. I am a doctor or anything. I'm just a mother. So I will give you my perspective of Down syndrome. So Down syndrome is a genetic chromosomal disorder where the 20th chromosome has, instead of it being in double, it has a triplicate. So instead of having a total of 46 chromosomes, children or persons with Down 47 chromosomes. So with that, it's genetic. It wasn't my fault. There was a fault. It just, just one of those things, as someone would explain, it's sporadic. There has been myth around most people having children with Down syndrome who are above the age of 40, it being a major risk, but it's more of a myth because many of moms who have children with Down syndrome have them below the age of 35, but say that they are not the ones above 45. So what I'm trying to emphasize is it's not anyone's fault. It's just there are three types of Down syndrome. There is educational, which is a very small percentage that tends to be genetic. It can be passed on from parent to child. Then there is mosaic, where the 21st chromosome is very close to another chromosome. So the traits of Down syndrome appear. And then there is classical, which has the highest majority of, which most people have. So with that said, I've said the types. The major challenges are developmental, delayed developmental milestones, and intellectual delays. So with that said, they've never said that there is abilities, just like all of us typical people, we have different strengths and weaknesses, and it presents with people who live with Down syndrome. To overcome, I think it's an everyday thing. It's I think the first thing important is acceptance. Acceptance as the caregiver and the parents, acceptance from family at large, but I think it starts more so from the person who has a daily interaction with the child. So once you accept, it's hard to tell how long you'd be able to say acceptance is a process. You grieve the child you thought you were going to have. And once you grieve, then now slowly you start coming to accept. So I think overcoming is acceptance. It is once you accept, then now you roll whatever punches come your way. So Down syndrome, children tend to have hypotonia, which is low muscle tone. So they are unable to reach their milestones of their neck being able to handle their head, the sitting, the walking, the running. So just like there is need for food and love and everything, children with Down syndrome really need early intervention of therapy, that is occupational therapy and physiotherapy, for them to be able to achieve their milestones. I think that's also one of the ways to overcome or even to have a better outcome in terms of how well your child is able to adjust and adapt to various environments. I tend to believe early intervention has been key and will continue to be key. Then all the others are psychological. I think just putting yourself in the space of allowing yourself to be vulnerable, because this is the first time you're becoming a mom to a person or a little child who has this disability, and it's not a disease, it's just a condition that you have to figure out what is best for you and your child and now be able to push through. Maybe Sylvia, you can let me know whether there's anything else I have missed that I would probably need to highlight.
Let me just extract the reading of the summary. Normally, as Andy speaks, we have summaries of all the conditions. So in summary, you find Down syndrome is a chromosomal disorder resulting from an extra copy or an extra material of chromosome 21. This imbalance is in chromosomal expression causes mild to moderate intellectual disability. So Down syndrome is not a disease and it is not contagious. People need to know that. And some of the characteristics that you will find of DS kids, you will find there is, this cannot be seen, but I'll try and put it up later. So you will find they have something we call a simian crease that's in the hand. Yeah, then you will find between the first and the second toe there is a gap. That is one of the other characteristics of a person with Down syndrome. And then there is something they call, this word is hard, epicarpic fold that is on the face. And then you will find they have upward slanting eyes. So you'll see like the eyes are slightly slimmer and slanted. Then you'll find that their nasal bridge is a bit flat, and then there is a protruding tongue. So you'll find not everyone will have the same characteristics. Not every child will have the same. They're all different, and even the intensity is different depending on how the chromosomes split. And some of the challenges that you find where the children are born with, especially at birth, and this is one of the challenges that I hope that at least our healthcare system will be able to intervene in good time, because you find that parents suffer and discover these things a bit later. So you'll have, they'll either have a congenital heart condition. I know I have a nephew who has, and we had to actually have a heart operation when he was very young because of that. Then you have gastrointestinal problems such as obstruction. Then you have celiac disease is one of the other challenges that they highly suffer from. Then you'll have problems with memory, judgment, and coordination. And then you have hearing conditions such as sensorineural hearing noise. and also eye problems such as cataracts or farsightedness. So you find very young children with DS wearing specs. Also, you find also like to correct and align their eyes for those who get affected. And then you will find thyroid conditions also as one of the health risks that we find with people with DS. So tell us your story, Wanjira. How did you find out? How early, how late, how did it affect you?
Okay, it's true, Sylvia. Whatever you've said about what they mostly suffer from is true.
Mm-hmm.
To emphasize it because remember when I talked about hypotonia,
Mm-hmm.
everything you have mentioned is a muscle, so everything is weakened,
Mm-hmm.
and not all children suffer from all those conditions, but more often than not, you find majority with maybe a thyroid problem, and then now thyroid is actually a very important hormone, and if not well monitored, it will hamper brain development and also height. So thanks for highlighting that. So my story is Getalia is my second born. I have three boys. One is 7, Getalia is 4 and 3 months, and I have a 2-year and 4 months old son. So I got him at 34 years. And the pregnancy, I've never had a problem with pregnancy. Pregnancy was very smooth sailing. I basically did everything that someone would possibly do when they're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
But his entrance into the world was very fast. I actually did make it to the delivery room. So I labored really fast and I delivered him pretty. So I actually delivered him in the waiting room. And when I delivered him, he didn't cry. He didn't, as soon as he came out, he did not cry at all. So with dropping and the doctor finally got him to cry, but his cry was really weak. Then as pediatrician wasn't there, but she came in like 30 minutes later. So she came and observed the baby and she started asking me, did he cry? How was it? And then now she did not really discharge us. She let us go rest. In the process of that, I didn't take my time, but one thing I noticed is he would be asleep for most of the day and would hardly cry. So that evening, the evening I delivered him, I looked at him and I saw.
Is it my net or is it your net? Are you with us, Wanjira?
I was also waiting for my family to, notice and probably say something about it. And they didn't. So I was like, okay, fine, maybe it's me overthinking things. So again, he's not breastfeeding, he's not latching, he's, get a pump, express. So then thereafter, the following morning is when my pediatrician came and she told me, I have a few concerns, but I just want to run tests before I conclude anything. And right then I knew there was something wrong. So anyway, she drew blood and she told me that the chirotyping test has to be done out of the country, and not to worry, these things happen. So immediately she did that. I wheeled back my son into my room, and it was a very emotional time, and I was all alone, and that whole thing of wondering what next, what does this mean? And then you turn to Google, and Google has a very interesting way of showing you more of the negative than of the positive. And I had known about Down syndrome, but I never, knowing and actually living through it is is something totally different. And I think thereafter, my doctor is the one who told me, I think that you need to pick yourself up. You are not going to be the first and you're not going to be the last. So I need you to be able to cry and pick yourself up. This baby needs you. And you're going to start therapy immediately. And right then now he got jaundice, and he had to be put in under light for 3 days. It was actually a very, I think you're in a daze. Then anyway, I have amazing support from my family and my husband. And I think because I didn't want to start therapy immediately, because her suggestion was I start after 2 weeks. I waited. I was hoping that the tests would come back negative. So at week 6, I decided, let me just walk myself in. I mean, the worst that can happen is we do therapy and he doesn't need it. So he's now 4. We did therapy twice a week. I had to stop working because my husband used to work out of town. And so it has been a journey of many tears, but what keeps us going is a day at a time. He walked at 20 months, and I think one thing that I'm learning is to be patient. There is no competition. It's very comparison, but I think he has taught me that he is so unique, he is so different, that I appreciate everyone in their unique differences. So the current milestone we are working on is speech and potty training. And he is just a joy. He is so amazing. He's musical, he's funny, he's attentive, loving. He's a lovely addition to our family. His brothers love him. And we are really blessed to have him. Even despite the fact that you don't know about tomorrow. I think that's another thing that as parents, once we get the diagnosis, we always jump to, we are 20 years ahead and wondering what will happen in 20 years. But for me, I have now learned to live a day at a time. Thankfully, he has had problems. He has had, his hearing is great. His eyesight is not good, so he wears, he's short-sighted, he wears glasses. His thyroid is a bit overactive, so he has hypothyroidism. But fortunately, we are not on any medication because he is asymptomatic. He's not, T4 and T3 are elevated, but his hyperactivity doesn't show like someone who has hypothyroidism. We started school before COVID, and thankfully we were able to get a school that is inclusive. So he was in playgroup and he was doing well, but then it happened. But we're trying to do whatever we can do at home. But I mean, it's been quite a journey that I never knew that I would be able to handle. Yeah.
But for sure you're handling it, yeah, and I'm sure you're handling it pretty well. The good thing is when God gives you these special children, there is no map or there is no guideline of how you're going to do it, but you find the grace and you find yourself actually doing it. And it is a good thing that you're able to, how would I call it? You're able to have the support system that is there surrounding you, especially at this time. Because most of the time, I know, like, I'm sure when you gave birth and you as a mother, you always have that gut feeling like, I'm sure it was not your first child, right? So you're like, there is just something that is just not it, you know? But we always find the grace to embrace. So now tell us, the test, what is actually that test? What does it do? Did the doctor even explain that to you?
So it's called chirotyping. It's just a test to whether there is an extra chromosome. You have, I mean, it actually counts how many chromosomes you have. And unfortunately, we are not able to do it here, and it's very expensive. When we were doing it back, it was around, is it 18,000?
Wow.
And then now when a child is born, they also check for congenital hypothyroidism. So they run quite a number of tests, and they check on heart mama, you do an echo, all those things. So the chirotyping was just specific to confirm whether he does have an extra chromosome. And it was done, I think, in Germany. So yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how long did you have to wait?
I think I waited. I started therapy before the results came in. They took about 10 weeks.
Okay. What therapy exactly did you start with?
So I started with both physiotherapy and occupational therapy. At least an hour and a half twice a week. So it was OT and physiotherapy. And I did speak for a while when he got to 2. Then now we did speech for about 1 year. And then now I decided to withdraw him from speech.
Okay. Have you looked at an alternative way of communication with him?
No, because he's verbal.
Okay.
He's able. We have been working on vocabulary. So far, we have been successful. He's doing 2-word sentences. Okay. So he's able to tell Mama, come, you know. He's able to communicate, and he is a very good communicator. So I'm really thankful. So it's just now building on the 2-word sentences to 3-word sentences. Yeah, but and then also being able to be articulate, because I think I'm able to understand him. It's very hard for other people to understand him because his tongue is slightly heavy. So, it's a bit difficult for other people to understand. But he will let you know when he's unhappy. He will let you know when he's happy. And I think that's a pretty basic way to begin. Yeah.
And you're very lucky that he's actually started talking, because I know, like with my nephew, what I saw, what they do out in the UK is they use the Makaton language and the cards, which helps at least when you're trying to have that conversation with them. And also there is the hearing, and these are, if you look at the character traits of DS and also autism, you see they're very similar, right? Because if you look at like even the delayed milestones and stuff like that, and all these other challenges that we all go through, they are very, very pretty similar. So who was the first person in your family to like come out and tell you, I think we should have the baby checked? Because there is always at least someone who, or was there Kamkunji, then they vote someone to come and say like, I think we need to have a look and, consult the doctor. Did you have a challenge like that?
Well, I think we first started with my side of the family. I have 3 sisters who are they have my back. So it was now, and they would keep prompting me. So what do you think? What next? And my mom has been very supportive to the extent of taking me she actually took me for the first neurodevelopmental clinic. And the fact that she, put time aside she never gave me her opinion or what she thinks. She just, she was waiting for me to help her be able to support me, because it's all new for everyone. You can imagine even they are grieving. She was grieving her grandson. My sisters were grieving their nephew. But they never showed me the side of their struggling with the diagnosis. It was always, so what next? So what did the doctor say? So what are you doing? What do you want me to do for you? So we kept it like that. And then about after a year, again, acceptance, I will repeat, is a process, because for you to explain someone something or a concept, you need to be fully engaged. You need to have cushioning, you need to have that patience. So it took us 1 year to break it to now our other side of the family. And I mean, they took it as well, but we have never, thankfully, we have never had someone having very negative opinions. I mean, we have shut down a few people who have a different way of approaching him. But I mean, we were very clear. We do not want pity. We do not want him to be handled as different. The same way you'd handle any other family member is the same way would appreciate that everyone does. And we were very open to them, being part of the process. So no, not quite. Yeah.
Okay. And how did okay, at what age did you do the test, first of all? Was it immediately at birth or after you saw the delayed milestones?
No. It was at birth. Oh, then I forgot to mention that usually the scan that is done at 12 weeks, usually for people above the age of 40 is what I realized that they pay more attention. So they do the scan at 12 weeks to see whether there are any, I think they usually look at the nasal cavity and the neck.
Fine, yeah.
So the fact that I was 34, they didn't quite, but in fact, I had a bone to pick with the sonographer because I was very heavy during his pregnancy. And by the time I was going for my last scan at 36 weeks, he actually told me, this baby is so big, if you're not careful, you'll not be able to deliver. Then my son comes out, he's 2.2 kilos.
Wow.
So, anyway, so yeah.
The challenges we go through,
I'm telling you. And then, I mean, you've already gone into labor knowing this is going to be crazy. Then the baby comes out, is 2.2. All my babies, thankfully, above 3.1.
Okay.
And he's so tiny. And,
Well, at least we had a baby. The way these days it is, you go in, if you come out, you say, thank you, Jesus. I don't know why we're having so much of those. How was it actually getting him to wear specs? You mentioned that he wears spectacles. How did you handle that? Because I can imagine you mentioned hyper and then you mentioned spec. I'm trying to think how I see my nephew, how many have been broken. 1 minute it's pulled, and even just how many sunglasses, leave alone spectacles, that we've had broken in our own household. How do you handle that?
Wow, it's an ongoing challenge. It's not that I have mastered the art. I personally have lost one of his glasses. I guess that being able to handle it is very difficult because he's very sensitive. He doesn't want anything touching his face. And so he keeps removing them. And now we also have challenges of the neighbors' children being very interested in what is going on. So there is once that I sent him out with them, he came back without them. So what we've resorted to do is for him to wear them when he's watching TV. But the hard thing is he's not long-sighted, he's short-sighted. So it's important for him to have them constantly when he's playing or interacting. So he can also be able to read people's cues and, have an understanding of people's non-verbal communication. So I think we haven't quite cracked it. We are slowly figuring out. We have decided to have 2 sets of glasses, just in case one goes missing, at least we have another pair. But he keeps playing with them. We have lost lenses. We have actually gotten lenses thrice. By the way, it's chaotic.
Yeah, it is.
What to do? You do the best you can do.
Of course, we have to do that. Let me just bring on screen the characteristics we mentioned earlier. I hope you guys can see, right? So this is what I was talking about for Down syndrome. So these are the characteristics, the line, the crease we were talking about on the palm, the gap, and the facial features you can see, right? So these are the ones we are talking about. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the health risks that could, it's not a must, you can have one of either of them, we could be
Yeah.
affected. And the most common,
Yeah.
like you had, is the hearing, the sight, the
Yeah.
I think the eyes is one of the most striking feature, like all 98%, right, of persons with Down syndrome have allow me to call them slit eyes. Yeah, the angulated eye.
Yeah.
And the one thing, I remember when I was down in SA and I went to Down Syndrome Society of Pretoria to just hang out with the teenagers or who have Down syndrome and autism. And
Mm-hmm.
we went for a dance class with them. And the one thing I
Yeah.
appreciate with the neurodiverse community is the amount of love these kids have. Because the way it was genuine, and these were teenagers. The other question I usually ask, yes, we have them when they're kids, but where do they go to? Like, we don't have that setup. Because I was seeing these teenagers, 18, one is busy telling me, will you be my girlfriend? And I'm like, oh my God, you're so cute. Because they're at that time, and just seeing them in that element that it is okay, and them giving me stories that, oh, so and so is dating so and so, and I'm like, this is pretty cool. Like, we should have like a club like that. So you can imagine this. Then they were doing community service, because we went with them to a hospice and just spent time with them, and I was trying to understand what they do and how their school setups are like. Same applies to the
Mm-hmm.
UK. They have a day where they go and help in the supermarket. Like, I know even during COVID, they had a day where like there was timelines set aside for special needs, so that you have your own time, your own speed for shopping. And those are the things we take for granted here in our country and in Africa. We do not consider the special needs community, and it's something that we really need to change. Yeah. So for you, the way you were saying, like, take your child and embrace them here and now. What is your greatest fear?
Oh, that's an interesting question, Sylvia. There are many.
Give us
But
top three.
off the top of my head, it's that inclusion and acceptance of his of who he is. I think the one thing that we struggle with, and it's my husband and I, is what will happen to him when we die.
Yeah.
And it's such a difficult question. And if I have at the back of my mind, yes, I will think of my sons able to take on, but my sons can only do so much. But if he is in a society where no one has taken the time to accept that this is who he is, and there's nothing wrong with who he is just different, is what is troubling. Is society. It's the acceptance of his capabilities and the inclusion that he is a human being just like me and you. He is capable of doing anything. So I think acceptance of society about the difference that, the different way he approaches things. Then the other one is, I think you've mentioned teenagehood. It's him being able to go through all the stages of life without feeling the difference. And then now, obviously, with that comes anything to do with sexual, him being molested, and him not being able to speak up or call out. I think that would be another thing. And just, I think another fear is, I have realized that because I am challenged to be there, I would not want my reservations or my restrictions on how I approach life have a negative impact on him. So it's me being aware that this is the first time I'm doing this, for me not to have or let my inhibitions stop him from flourishing. I think, yeah, that for me is the biggest thing, because yes, we are living a day at a time, but I need to think about his future And here I am struggling, trying to balance everything. And time is important. So if I'm busy I'm struggling trying to figure myself out, I'm worried negative impact on him. So it's for me to be conscious, to know that he needs me to be a bit chap. Let me put it that way, and for me to be able to balance everything out. Yeah, so those are the three.
Yeah, I know that adolescence fear. We are at 10, and you can see the changes, you can see they're more aware, you can see the curiosity, and it's something that, as much as we've even tried to handle it here, living it is a different story altogether. And that's crazy. Living it is a whole new level of trying to just embrace the whole thing. And also now the siblings, sometimes do you get to feel like that need for supporting almost everything, like it's also encroaching in the life of the siblings, like they have to come through for him, and that same fear, like, oh, what happens? And I know one of the things why I do what I do when it comes to advocacy is just that thought that, what if I'm not here? What will happen?
Yeah.
What will happen if maybe even my neighbor does not understand the child, because there is this African culture, and the attitude that people have towards special needs, and just anyone who's different. We're all different. Why do we treat them like they're extra different? They're all unique. All of us are unique in our own ways. So that's why we always also, I encourage people, like, focus on his ability. Yeah, yes, he's different, fine, but he can do X, Y, Z. He can do, and that's how we should raise them. And I like the way you said your own fears, your own limitations, limiting them to thrive. And I think when I listen to that, and if I look back, I'm seeing like there are things, especially with my youngest, and I'm like, is it our limitations and the fear that, oh, because it said, oh, you cannot do this, oh, you might not be able, we are holding them back instead of letting them be that curious boy, go run around. But then we're just being mothers. So don't feel guilty. You're just being a mother. Because that nurturing and protection, that's why you're there. It is your duty. It's just that when we were talking to Jerry the other day, she was saying, for us as parents, we need to let them, the special children, just go and explore. Because she was telling us the first day she told the mom, today I don't want you to pick me up, I want to take the bus. And the mom was just like at the edge of the chair, like, oh my baby, but that is just us. That is how we feel secure, because when we are in charge, we know we're protecting. And you look at when they're growing up, now you tell me this part, I don't know how your experience has been, especially now with other children and socialization and stigma, which is the hardest part. When did you ever go through any stigmatization, or words were said and stuff like that? What are your top 3 worst experiences when it comes to that?
Wow. I think what gets me is the people staring. And it's a stare longer than usual. It is the gosh, handle your child. I mean, that is one. And then you hear something, why wouldn't he listen? I mean, you've told him what you're communicating. Na haskizi. I mean, and that came out from a house help. What else? The stairs. What else? Okay, right now I think those are the two things I would think of right now. Luckily, I don't know whether I have been sheltering him, but I mean, within the neighborhood we stay in, he is free to mingle. But I can see my eldest son actually struggles with, why doesn't Tagia listen? Why do I have to be the one who has to go and, look what he's doing or where he's at? So maybe to touch on where the siblings come in, yes, I feel like there is an extra amount of weight that we place on our firstborn, and even now the lastborn. But I think I have been very conscious that I am available for my elder son to be able to ask questions. So it is having conversations around, Tagia will get there, but he will take slightly longer. And you are his bigger brother. You have to teach him how not to do certain things, or teach him how to do certain things. And, and we applaud him when he's able to speak up or do something for his brother. I think I have realized that my elder son has so much compassion for people, and especially his brother, that he's able to tell me, mommy, this, that, and the other about Gitagi. And we have had conversations of the comparisons. Why is my nephew, who is the same age as him, able to do 1, 2, 3, and Gitagi is not? So I think I have been open, and also I tend to make sure that I have enough time for especially the eldest, that I send the others to sleep, and then now we do a catch up with him. So yeah, I think that's my other addition. Yeah. Sylvia, you're muted.
I forgot. I'm saying it's good to hear that. Yeah, apart from the stairs always come when they're doing things, when even you're just walking, because people see the difference, or like when you talk to them and they can't talk, and guys are like, but you're this age, you should know how to talk, People don't excuse. Yeah. People are very, very judgmental and harsh in that. But at least socially, like with other kids, have you had an experience where the other children have looked at him differently, or have questioned the same way your son has now outside in the social setup? Or have you protected him so much that he has not had to deal with that?
So I think the one children find him a bit rough, because he's very loving. He wants to hug and he wants to kiss. Yeah. And children, I think, know a lot more of social distancing. So yes, there has been that whole thing of huyu ananichapa, anafanya hivi. So with children, yes, it has been quite a bit. But with grown-ups, hardly. I mean, the fact that he will see you and he doesn't know you, and he'll say hi, and then he reaches out his hands and wants to hug you and wants to kiss someone you personally don't know. I think
that give you heart palpitations.
I know who is that, and then you will hear even people saying, gosh, I want your son. And then now you start wondering, gosh, is he is he going to attract people that much? And maybe I don't know who you will attract. So there is that fear. I think for me now, for children, yes, I will agree, there is that not being able to understand the difference. In class, I remember his teacher telling me that everyone wants to sit next to him. And I found it very, very strange, because if he likes you, he likes you.
Yeah.
He'll want to hug you.
They're very clean-hearted, like Roho Safi.
Very, very
clean, yeah.
So that was a thing that I was worried about. He has also been taught to give a hug and step aside. So it's not that he's able to understand, but you just have to keep, prompting him. One hug is good enough, one kiss is good enough. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying. Yeah. I'm laughing because I go through the same even with mine, because my last born baby B, as we call him, he is too loving. Like everyone is a friend on the street. And you know that for me, I feel I'm the one who faces that feeling of the rejection from public, because there are people sometimes who don't understand that. And you know, in this day and age, it's not like Kitambo where greeting people was kawaida. These days, you greet someone who doesn't know you, they look at you like, what's wrong? Why are you saying hi to me? You know, but Africa used to be like that. We used to be like that. So the baby will be like, hi, my friend, how are you? So there are people who will respond. And there are those ones who look at him like, why are you saying, you know, there is that aloof kind of a feeling. For me as a parent, sometimes I'm like, ouch, you know, but then they don't feel it because of the purity and the genuinity of where it's coming from. But for you as a parent, you're like, really, really, it's a baby, it's a child, like, you know, just, it doesn't have to just respond. And that purity of soul is something that I don't think can ever be replaced. And special needs kids just have it in abundance. And I'm sure if you was to go to like your sister or something, that day that house will feel empty, because you always feel the void of all that love and affection that they usually bring, and they brighten the room. I don't know if we have any questions from those in attendance, so if you do, kindly drop it on the chat, or you can also raise your hand as we're almost summing up. And yes, what would be your message to other parents who are raising special needs children, one, and just the general public, in view of the stigma that is associated with special needs persons, as we wind up?
Okay. So I think the message I would give to other parents who have probably gotten the diagnosis of Down syndrome is, it is fine to cry. It is fine to take your time to process. And my story is mine, yours will be different. For me, my faith has grown, because I mean, it gets to a point where you realize you can't do much. You have to leave it to God, because He's the one who specifically chose you to be a parent to this beautiful child. And for me, it has been trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your path. That for me has been something I have held on to. I stopped leaning on my own understanding, because mine it's hard to understand. I mean, it's not God's. So the other thing is, live a day at a time. Carry out the tests, do the echo, do the thyroid function test, do the eye test, do the gastrointestinal test. Be aware what needs. You can have more time concentrating on now building him to be the person that he needs. But even having said that, I mean, healthcare in Kenya is chaotic. All these tests cost money, and NHIF doesn't cover majority of them. So it is a strain on a parent. So I think to start off is, yes, do the tests, start therapy as early as possible. Early intervention increases the chances of this child being able to achieve the full potential. That's two. Number three is get a support system. Get a support system by advocating for your own child. So it starts from home. Let people around you understand, and the people around you start with family. Help them have a better understanding of the situation that you help them understand that this is the challenge that you're facing. Cue them in, because guess what? There will be advocates for the child when you're not there, or when they're out mingling with other people. Support groups. I belong to T21, and it has been an amazing support, because you are not alone. We're over 200 moms spread within Kenya. And we support each other. We ask questions. We support where someone is not able to financially meet needs, where we can. Inclusion for and healthcare. So join a group that you understand each other's pain, you understand others' challenges. That three, and then dream for your child. Don't be scared to dream, and then also put your plan into action for them. If it is school, let them go to school. Let them do what it is your typical child will do, but dream and foster an environment that they feel loved and appreciated, just like your typical children. To the general public, I think it just starts with acceptance. Ignorance is never a defense. With my I will put aside my insecurities and probably have a conversation around it. You know, ask, Google, find out. Accept us. Touch. Don't say we are not. Say I can't keep my child. Take time to find out why he is the way he is. And also, I mean, love your neighbor yourself. So I think for the general public, it is, yeah, basically, yeah, I think yeah, that's what I have for now.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that summary. And that is very, very well said. And it applies across board for the entire neurodiverse squad, like I like to call it, the neurodiverse squad, the team of parents, caregivers, all of us are like one community. And we face the same challenges, and we will grow together if we stick together and support each other. And I like what you guys are doing at T21. And yeah, this month was actually Down Syndrome Awareness Month. And this was an awesome way to just sum it all up and at least host and get to learn about it. The official International Day is normally March 25th, right? March
21st. 21st.
Yes. 21st.
That's World Down Syndrome Day.
Yes, that's World Down Syndrome Day. The color is green and yellow. No,
blue and yellow.
What are yellow?
Blue and yellow.
Blue and yellow. Which blue? Dark blue though.
Not navy, yeah, but almost close to royal blue.
Like royal thereabout, yes. And yellow. I don't know. Green is CP. And and we also had a lot of CP this month because on the 6th of October is World CP Day. Autism, 2nd of April. Who am I leaving? ADHD was this month was also actually ADHD awareness. Funny. And for those who don't understand, like actually, if you look at our butterfly today, let me take the chance to just, it's what we're talking about. The process of your child growing. From that, if you look at the butterfly, it metamorphoses from that egg to the maggot, and then it comes up to this beautiful animal. And you'll find there is no one butterfly that looks like the other. Have you ever known that? Never can you find one butterfly that is exactly like the other. And that also applies to our special needs children. If we nurture them, we give them everything that they need, and we allow them time to go through their life, eventually they will become their own beautiful butterfly. And in the colors of why it is black is because Andy Speak starts in Africa. And here, this is the Kenyan flag. That's where we start. And then this is the symbol for autism. The gray is for invisible disabilities. And also you'll find, yes. And then we have the yellow and the blues. Then we have more of the blue here and here. That is for DS. We have purple for epilepsy, we have orange for ADHD, we have green for CP, and that is what our butterfly is all about. I'm sure not many people knew about that. So that is what our butterfly stands for. And this is just to encompass the entire neurodiverse community as one, and what we stand for and the challenges that we do. And our children will thrive and fly and become these beautiful butterflies that will spread the love and their beauty and their uniqueness to the rest of the world. And thank you very much, Wanjira, for coming today and for taking your time to share with us your story and also to enlighten us about Down syndrome. As I mentioned earlier, this was our season finale for this year. And we will be back. Pardon the noise, today we are not in studio. We will be back again, and we have already a lot lined up for the caregivers and parents. We will be focusing now on the project for supporting the neurodiverse community with medication, which is what we've been championing and doing fundraising for. And we are still going on with that because we understand each other. We know where it pinches the most. And one of the greatest things that we are suffering and struggling with is medication for our children. Because construction has come back, I would like to say thank you very much for those who've been with us through and through. Remember, you can watch all the other episodes on our YouTube channel. That is Andy Speaks for Special Needs Persons. The same on Facebook, the group, if you want to join for support, for encouragement, for enlightenment, and for sharing just exactly what is going on, and you know, just being with other parents who are walking the same. And we have the social media handles. That is Andy Speaks 4. That is on Twitter. You can follow the conversation. That's where we discuss policy and also changes and things that we would like to see change in the community and the events that are going on. And on Instagram, it is Andy Speaks, just Andy Speaks as it is written up there. And we look forward to seeing you next time. We'll let you know when we come back. And at least we hope that Corona will be over and we will be able to go back to live TV airing of the NeuroDigest show. As always, I am your host, Sylvia Moramu Chabo, the founder and executive director for Andy Speaks for Special Needs Persons. So till next season, don't go away. And if you'd like for us to bring something urgently, we're always right here and we will be back. So thank you and have a fabulous, fabulous holiday season. Our holiday starts early, mid-November, which is tomorrow. So enjoy, and we will be seeing you. And thank you very much, Wanjira, for joining us. And for everyone who has joined us, we say a big thank you. And we hope we have been a great support during this difficult time of the pandemic. And we have Evelyn saying, Asante Sana Sylvia, Wanjira, big up. And to everyone else, don't forget, take a rest, receive. You cannot give from an empty cup, like we always say. So take time to love you also as you're loving our children. All right. Do have a fantabulous weekend. Until next time. Ciao.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Mama Siki. Thank you.